everyone. Sarah Belmonte here, going live for our behind the scenes with a preneur. And we have a special treat, especially for the new year. I see so many people online talking about their new goals, their new ambitions, their theme words, and we are starting something a little bit different this year. So I'm really excited to introduce you to our speaker. So welcome to, this is our third show of Behind the Scenes with the Preneur. We have Amy Copeland right here with us from Legacies Life Coaching and Consulting. So let's welcome Amy.
Hi.
Hi, Amy. I'm so glad you're able to make it online with us today. It's kind of crazy because everything's moving online, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what 2021 has in store for us.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we had kind of a unique perspective of how we met, I feel like, because when we met, and I want to say that it was Ashley, you came with Ashley. Is that correct? To
yes.
one of our meetings,
yes.
Or did you come first? Okay.
Yeah, Ashley brought me.
Okay. So you met us, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hard to believe it's been that long.
I know, at Monster Yogurt, you walked through the door, and now I'm trying to remember because we've had several interactions since then. But you also brought Lindy to that one, right? Or was she at the second one?
I think I brought her to the next one.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you another reason why I remember you. And everybody online knows that I'm a foodie, but you had brought these little cookies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had your logo on them and everything.
Yeah.
And yes, and at that time, I didn't even know that this beautiful mompreneur is also a chef. She is an author, a coach, my goodness, and I love it. I just think it's so wonderful, your journey, and that's what we're here online to talk about. It's so important to understand each other's journeys so that we can see how we all can learn and grow and just feed off each other's energies, our trials, our successes. So thanks for being on today.
Yeah.
For anybody just catching in, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Amy, and a few people know me by my middle name, Susanna, but mostly I'm Amy. And I am a former pastry chef. I went to Le Cordon Bleu in 2006 and 7 and became a primarily cake decorator, but also pastry chef. I ended up working at several places, including a resort in Colorado, and the Four Seasons was my last job in the industry. And then I got an injury, and I realized that I was not going to be able to do cooking professionally forever. And so I needed to find a way to make a living before I ran out of time. So I've been through sort of a major unexpected transition in my career, which is part of why transitions are such a big part of what my coaching is about, is helping people through major life transitions that they can't avoid. Because I've been through several of them. I've helped some friends through several of them. And then I became, I ended up going back to school and getting my bachelor's in three things, actually. It was a general studies degree. I had been studying to get it in psychology. So I have all of the undergrad requirements for psychology, but apparently PW has a limit on the number of people who can graduate in any program, like per semester. And so they were like, you have to wait a year to graduate if you wanted to graduate with psychology, or you can take all of these extra courses and be a general studies major and finish on time. So I finished on time. So my degree is actually in English, sociology, and family studies. And then I went on to graduate school to get my master's in counseling. And so through all of that, and through the practicum internship that they make you do to graduate from counseling master's degree programs, I just learned a lot about taking care of people, but I realized that my personality, I was originally pursuing counseling, and I realized that my personality is a much better fit to coaching, because a lot of people don't realize there's a difference between therapy or counseling and a life coach. Because it seems similar, but they're actually very different approaches. There are some techniques that we use that are the same, but a life coach focuses on the present and future. So whatever is presently going on with you, like whether there's a hang up or you have a challenge that you're facing right in this moment, or whether there's something that you are trying to make happen in the future, like moving towards the future. Whereas counseling is really about addressing the issues of the past that are affecting the present. And so one of the things that I do is I screen my new clients to make sure that what they actually need is coaching and not therapy, because I don't want to do therapy. I'm not supposed to do therapy legally. And then also therapists do diagnosis and treatment of diagnosed disorders. And I'm happy to work with people who have disorders, but I'm not there to fix those disorders. And in fact, one of the things that I really specialize in, because I have all of that background in counseling, is helping people who have disorders deal with the present, while they're getting those disorders taken care of by either doctors or therapists. Because, for instance, depression, it's not like, oh, you have depression, here's a pill, you're cured. It's like it takes like a year or 2 or 3 or 4. And in the meantime, the world keeps spinning and you need to find a way to be functional. And so that's a transition that I can help people with. So anyway.
Talk about the world spinning.
Yeah.
Goodness. No, I'm so glad that you went into the clarification. So you said life coach is more present and future, and then the counselor is more past. But you play a unique role because you can help with both of those in the sense under the coaching hat of dealing with a disorder. So would you work hand in hand with a counselor? Would you, if someone comes
Yes,
to you?
I have several. I actually have a list of counselors. So if I find that a client likely needs a therapist, pretty much everyone can use a life coach, but obviously not everyone can afford to do both at the same time. But if I find that somebody needs a therapist more, I will refer them on. And moreover, because I have a list of therapists that I work with, and it's just a referral I work with. I don't like work at a company with them or something. I can usually find a decent personality match. The only tricky thing is like insurance. I have had a couple of clients where I've said, like, I do think that a therapist would be good, but I am not an expert in finding like the perfect therapist that will work with your insurance if you have that coverage. But as far as just being able to tell you this therapist is a good personality match for you, and I think that you would gain a lot from them, I have a list of people. So
Awesome. That's great. Thank you. And I know a few people are jumping in on the live. So if you are on the live, we want you to tell us what city, state, country you're from. And then also if you've ever utilized the services of a life coach or even knew what a life coach was prior to this. So now here's the part where we really want to get to know you as a child. And just kind of get to know you as a person and how you grew up, and about this entrepreneur journey, because a lot of my sign-offs are enjoy the mom journey, and I really feel like entrepreneurship, mompreneurship is this journey that we just need to embrace. So love to go down the memory lane of your journey and ask you, what kind of child were you?
My parents, there's a book called Parenting the Strong-Willed Child, I think it's called, and that was used heavily in my household. I'm a third child of 3 daughters, and I eventually had the nickname of Juggernaut because I just am very stubborn and very strong-willed. Those are probably the most like descriptive things of me as a kid. And then I was also just like determined. Determination was a big thing. Like if I got something in my head, I did it, and I did it all the way. still struggle a little bit not to just, if I do something, I do it 150% every time with just full speed ahead. And that is something that I've learned in adulthood needs to be tempered, but it's a very useful part of myself to tap into when certain things just need to be done. The hard part is learning how to know when to use that, because it also spends you completely to go 110% into everything you do. So strong-willed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So with the strong-willed, you also work with someone who knows your history very well. We mentioned that who's your business partner.
Yeah. So my business partner is my mom, Lindy Thomas, and I recruited her. It took a lot of time to convince her to join my business.
So you utilize those determination, strong-willed characteristics.
Yes, I wore her down because I've grown up watching her. She's worked in several industries. She was an entrepreneur, owning her own sewing business from home for like 25 years. She has been a teacher in many contexts, mostly adults, but she's been a teacher for longer than I've been alive. And moreover, just she has raised 3 adult women who all are in touch with her on a daily basis and love her and respect her. And I think that says more about somebody's ability to succeed at adulthood than almost anything else. I feel like the proof is in the pudding that her kids trust and love her, and her marriage of 42 years now almost is still thriving. And so I think that just by example, she has shown that she has wisdom to share, and then I also know as her adult child, I find that her advice is incredibly useful. And so I cajoled her and convinced her to go to the Coach Academy International and be certified as a life coach so that she could also have the techniques behind all of that life experience. And it's great because now we have my bigger amount of education with the counseling degree in grad school, and then her lifetime of actual experience that's frankly significantly more useful at the end of the day. Yes. But my experience helps me work with people who do have disorders a little bit more, because I can work with the symptoms that they're dealing with on a daily basis. And she is actually, usually, ironically, I end up working with the retired age clients a little bit more, and she ends up working with people my age more, because she just has that life advice and that life experience that is so useful to younger clients. So anyway.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, I mean, I've enjoyed meeting Lindy, and I just think she's a gem. So she just has a beautiful personality.
She's also way cooler than me. I'm kind of a dork, but she's really cool.
My mom has worked with me as well, and I feel like my mom's cooler than me too. I mean, if I want some new shoes or stuff like that, or new styles, she's gonna have them, you know. I mean, I'll go through her closet before she'll go through mine.
Yeah.
So I feel you on the whole mom front. But that's awesome. So do you feel that by seeing her in the entrepreneur role, that affected any of your development as an entrepreneur?
Oh, definitely. I it's funny because I grew up noticing that she would get a job. She's probably gonna be a little embarrassed by me pointing it out, but I admire her so much for it. It's one of those things that I think she frames it differently than I do. But I grew up watching her. She worked from home until I was in about middle school, high school. And then when both of my sisters were heading towards college, she got a job outside the home part-time. And what I found was she would get a job, keep it for about 3 years, master it until she was bored, and then move on. Because she just got so good at it that it became incredibly boring for her, and she wanted to learn something new. And that voracious appetite for learning, I realized is incredibly useful in entrepreneurship, because that's how she didn't get bored for 25 years in her career from home when she was an entrepreneur, was that she could always just add a new thing or learn a different technique or Like she had that ability to kind of continue growing at all times, that I think entrepreneurs have that advantage where having a traditional job sometimes gets that rut that can be hard to sit still if you have a certain personality type. So
Yes.
she's
And I
kind
think
of a
that's
Jane of
very
all
much.
trades, and I've always noticed that, and I love that.
Oh, that's awesome. And I think that it is so true to the entrepreneur life. Like that's kind of the beauty of it. It's ever changing. And my goodness, 2020, just like throws under the, and it's our job to keep innovating, be on top of the competition, be on top of, our passion and how we want to play that forward to serve others. So it's pretty, that's pretty neat how she's works with you now. Awesome. Well, if Lindy is online, I want to hear from you. So make sure you.
I know. I almost texted her. I told her when I was going to be on.
Yeah, we should have. Okay, so I would like to ask you more about your journey and what part of your journey do you feel has been most significant to bring you to your success today? And I know you mentioned your mom and your upbringing. Is there anything else really?
It's funny because like as an entrepreneur today, I would say that there's the super obvious one of school. I couldn't do what I do for a living without all of the education that I've gotten. There are some, there's actually an ongoing conversation in my house about the necessity of education, whether higher education like college is necessary. And I think it just depends on the career you want to be in. But life coaching and counseling, obviously, are so much richer with adequate and correct education. And so I think that having a graduate degree in counseling, in addition to my certification in life coaching, makes me such a better life coach. And at the end of the day, I think the success of a business hinges on the knowledge of the practitioner in a business like mine. The other thing that has helped me a lot is I really feel like God kind of moved in my life in a way where there was this gap between working in food service and moving on, where I worked like 1,000 jobs just to get the bills paid while I was in school. And several of them weirdly just happened to end up sending me to some of the best seminars and workshops and everything for sales and marketing. And I became incredibly well educated through work and then through these seminars awesome. That I got to attend for free as a part of these jobs that I was working. So I learned a lot about the ins and outs of sales and marketing. I learned a lot about the professional world that I hadn't really had a lot of reason to be in otherwise, because I'd gone from food service to like, one-on-one with clients is not the same at all as like working in an office. So I had the opportunity to have many experiences professionally so that I can relate to clients more. But I'd say that those sales seminars, it's amazing how much I've used them in being an entrepreneur and trying to sell my business and grow it.
That's awesome. That's great. And I think right now, I love that you said education is so important. And so how do you feel about the accessibility of education right now? Meaning like, Google University and, different experiences online.
I have a lot of opinions. I will say I have actually been asked by several people for advice or mentorship regarding them becoming life coaches, either because they want to expand the business they already have to include that skill set or whatever. I would say make sure that whatever program you certify through is accredited, because there's like, I could go, like you right now could go online and spend like $60 and print out a certificate, spend like an hour or two, and then print out a certificate that says you are a certified life coach. But you didn't actually learn anything and you weren't actually taught much. And that's the one problem with life coaching, is that it is unregulated relative to counseling, where you have to get licensed through like a board. And so it helps a lot to have an accredited education if you do life coaching, just for those people who are like, oh, I've been thinking about doing that. That's my number one piece of advice is make sure that you spend the money, spend the time, and really know what you're doing, because you can harm people by just winging it. It's not advice. It looks like it's just advice, but it's not.
Right. Well, I can definitely tell. So I've gotten to sit with you in different, while you coached on the time management and even just getting rid of items in my home.
Yeah.
Oh, so really go out, and I'll share your information too on the bottom. Just look out for her website, because Legacy's Life offers quite a bit, and I love that you have these particular specialties, as far as, go ahead. You want to talk about a few of those specialties?
Yeah, so I started life coaching like before I was certified while I was in school. I started out coaching, not life coaching, kind of as a fluke. I had worked as a maid to pay my way through college, and I had a couple of people who just kind of knew me and knew my personality well ask me to help them clear major hoards. Like if you've seen the show Hoarders, like we're talking that kind of thing. And so I have, again, these weird opportunities that just kind of taught me these really unique perspectives on things. And so I worked for 3 years working with people clearing out their large collections and messes, and of varying degrees, but all of them would classify as a hoard. And so I started sort of coaching with that, because it's not a matter of just walking in like a maid and cleaning. You have to go in and work with the person, and especially if you're working with someone who has like a you know there's some disorders. This counseling sort of thing comes into play. There are some clinical disorders that people have that contribute to their hoards at times. And so you can't just go in and be like, well, obviously you need to get rid of all this stuff. Like that doesn't actually work. And so I learned a lot of techniques just working with these people to gently bring them around to the idea of getting rid of certain items voluntarily. Because at the end of the day, you can traumatize someone if you manipulate them into getting rid of something that they don't really want to get rid of. Like they might even consent to it in the moment, but then when you leave, they are traumatized because half of their stuff is gone and they had sentimental attachments to that stuff. And so that sort of got me started on the path of coaching, and how I kind of realized as I was in counseling school that coaching was the best direction for me to take it.
Well, I can definitely see that, because even when I called Amy because I had quite a bit of stuff from my daughter, who is now, over 5, and I had all this clothes. And so I was like, I said, I know that part of this is emotional, and then I just want room. And so I was just so happy to be able for you to coach me through that and then get rid of items. And so thank you. Thank you for what you provide, because it is almost, and I don't want to, I know I'm not supposed to use the word counseling, but it is a little bit of a coaching session for me to go through. Therapeutic. Thank you.
Yeah. Without being therapy, it can be therapeutic. Yeah. I just have to be, and frankly, legally, I have to make sure that everybody knows that there is a difference and that what I am and what I'm not. That's legally to protect me, but it's mostly in place to protect the client. I should not be practicing counseling on someone who has signed up for coaching. They're two different things. That would be like if you showed up at like a masseuse and I started performing surgery on you. Like both of us provide a service, but I am not a surgeon.
Good. No, but yes.
Well, and then I will say that some of the other programs that we have include like we deal with late life transitions. I'm really like particularly I have a passion for working with the geriatric crowd. And so I work with newly retired people dealing with the transition of like, now, like, what is my identity now that I'm not working? I've been doing this job for 50 years or whatever. And then I also often work with newly retired people because they have parents who are transitioning into like senior care facilities. And they don't know how to navigate not only the transition, but because it can be traumatic for the adult child as well. But they don't know how to talk to their parent, and then their parent might be upset too, and that's a transition for them. And so it's kind of a whole family transition. And so I've worked with clients in a lot of that age range. So we have a package for that. We have a package for graduates because that's a major life transition. Now, I customize packages frequently for new clients based on their specific needs, but there are certain programs where I've actually written like a curriculum that helps me really go through the steps with them.
That's great. And that's good to know that it can be, it's not just a one fits all, because I mean, it's coaching. You need to have that personalization. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. And I know we were talking a lot about education. And one of my goals for 2020 was to read 20 books. Mm-hmm. And I read yours again, so I did count that towards my 20
You books. Should. It's a once a year kind of book, in my opinion.
Exactly. Well, that's how I feel too, because I am built as a people pleaser, and I know that's, you know, it's something that your book in particular talks about. So I need to be re-reminded of what are healthier habits for myself. So tell me about, you know, what made you write a book, and what would you, well, just tell me what made you write this book.
Okay. So this is my book. Let me see here. Yeah. It's Love and the Art of Saying No, a journey out of codependence, people-pleasing, and overcommitment. And it's, so the book itself, it's half memoir, half self-help. So I basically made an effort to walk alongside the reader during my own journey out of people-pleasing, codependence, and overcommitment. Because a lot of self-help books, especially ones about boundaries, can feel a little bit lofty, where there's an academic expert telling you what you need to do with your life. And I find that it's a little bit more comforting to know that this person's been through it and they really know what they're talking about firsthand. And so that was sort of the approach that I took with the book. So a lot of people have likened it to sitting down with a friend over a coffee and hashing out your life. That's come up a couple times, I think, in the reviews. So anyway, I started writing it actually as a blog. So one piece of advice I can give for people who want to write a book is, if you don't know how to write a whole book, start writing a blog, even if it's not published, like visible. Just start writing when you have a topic that is like within the realm of what you're trying to write about, for nonfiction especially. Go ahead and just write a short story or a blog, and then get a collection. And then you do have to go back in and like tweak it and put it together and make it all one cohesive thing. But it's a lot easier when you already have everything written and you just have to like knit it together. But I actually wrote the blog for my own benefit because I was in therapy at the time. And I didn't want to forget all the things that I was learning while I was in therapy about myself, and all of the techniques that were useful to me, and the lessons I was learning about what was behind my people pleasing. And so I started it while I was in therapy as a blog. And then when I was going through graduate school and I started counseling clients through my practicum program, I had all these other revelations as I was working with other people who were dealing with similar issues from completely different backgrounds, with completely different, by all appearances, motivations. I realized that there were deeper things behind the inability to say no to people. It looks similar sometimes, but then people can say like, oh, well, I can't say no because I was abused. And someone else will say, I can't say no because I was never abused. And I really kind of began to I don't know what the word is, gel, an understanding of what is really behind people pleasing, which, as it turns out, is kind of at the core of codependence and overcommitment. So that was sort of how the book came about.
Yes, and I like that tip about writing the blog. So One, I have to do a little plug for you because I did share your blog. So if you're looking to just stay connected with her blog or comment or anything like that, go to legacieslife.com. And I just shared one on Moms Out Marketing in regards to New Year's and New Year's resolutions. So
yeah. Yeah,
that
it's
was
a couple of years old, but the principles are good, so we kept
it.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I know that you'll be speaking at our event coming up, so we'll be talking more about that too.
Mhm.
So now you talked also. You said write a blog, and guess what? You told me that maybe six months ago, because when I told you I wanted to write a book as well.
Mhm.
So with our new website comes a mom blog too.
Yay!
So I hope if you ever want to be a guest on there, and especially as leadership, it'd be great to have fun with that. But I like that, and I'm really big into cutting down into smaller pieces, smaller slices. So when you say, if we would have said, hey, if you would have said write a whole chapter, I'd be like, no way, that's too much. But when you say write a blog,
Yeah.
and actually I cut it down even more so, because what I did is, if you'll notice in our mom newsletter, I write a little piece before it. And so that's going to be like part of my blog into it as well.
Well, and one thing I love about that technique of writing a blog, especially for nonfiction, obviously for fiction, it can be a little bit different, but start with a blog anyway.
Okay.
But the cool thing about it is, one of the things that's always been a huge complaint for me, because between school and just like my natural personality, I have read a lot of self-help type of books.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are like required reading for counseling majors.
Those are just
And my biggest complaint is that usually there's like 3 to 4 really good chapters with like the reason you bought the book in them, and then there's like 10 plus chapters of them repeating themselves or putting in unrelated fluff or whatever. And when you do it blog style, what happens is you're writing each chapter from an inspiration that was singular, and so you end up with a collection of equally meaty, really, really like excellent chapters that have a whole book's worth of information, like a whole self-help book's worth of information in the one chapter that really tells you what you're actually thinking. And so when you put them together, you end up with a really dense book that I think is actually so much more worth people's time reading it. Because I just really have noticed that's a very common thing, where someone has a great idea and it's too long for a blog, but it's too short for a book. And so they just had it.
Now, you have a program too in your coaching program, correct? To help people publish a book or write a book or all of the above? Can you?
Yes. Yeah. So again, I kind of create programs around things that I just have unique experience with. And then I can do the customized packages with individuals who have, other things that just need coaching. And so one of the things is I have been through the self-publishing process. I've written a book, completed it, and published it. I've also worked for a publisher briefly, but I did work for a publisher. I've worked in marketing, and I have worked as a copy editor. And so, and technically a writer. I was a social media copywriter. So I have all of this like professional, like I said, God just kind of gave me this like very dense experience.
No, I'm just thinking, don't look at my writing editor.
So, yeah, it is funny because I do have to like resist sometimes just like sending people like a corrected version of their blog, because I just want to I want to help them, but like I used to do that for a living, and you can't do that for everyone. And I've actually copy edited other published works. So I'm kind of I can do the publishing package, which is a very useful sort of one size fits all thing. That's frankly very affordable compared to other publishing programs. Because a lot of the time when you hire like a ghostwriter or you hire a publishing agency, you're looking at like thousands of dollars. And mine is not in the thousands category price wise. So
So I know we have a few different people online too, and we have some comments going on. So I wanted to just, if anybody who's on the live or the replay, I want you to let us know if you have ever published or wanted to publish a book. Let us know in the comments here on YouTube or on Facebook, as well as if you have a blog. I'd love to see it, because as
please post the links.
Yes, post all the links, and tell us when you started, because, you know, I think it's neat to just see the progression. You know, I was reading a book and it was talking about, I think it was Jen Hatmaker, and she says, you know what, just do your first book. She said, she used the word suck. She's like, it's gonna suck or something. She's like, doesn't matter, just put something out there and then do another one and then do another one. And there's, you know, and it's beautiful, because in a sense we have to, that's how we learn. You know, you have to just put yourself out there and just try it, and then just do it again and again. And every time you add to it, you're going to learn more and more, you know? So I need to take you up on those publishing, that publishing opportunity. But yes, so, well, we're at 36 minutes. So and we've gotten so much information from you, and I really appreciate it. But you will be coming in and talking to us on January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if anybody has heard Amy speak, I'd love for you to share your takeaway or what she spoke on. Can you tell us what you're going to be talking about on January 6th?
Yeah, I'm super excited about January 6th. I'm really, 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 really happy to have been asked to do this. Because one of my, if you've gotten to know me at all, or if you want to, you can go to facebook.com/legactieslife, plural legacies life. Because I've got a bunch of lives that I've done, and you can kind of get to know me better on those, and they're usually advice. Sometimes they run a little long, so they're nice, like, background while you're washing dishes or whatever. But one of my biggest things for all of my clients and for everybody that I speak to in, like, a public forum and in my book is being kinder to ourselves. There's some people with coach type personalities who will remind you of, like, a football coach or something, where they're like a cheerleader. They're like, yeah, rah, 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 do it, you can do it, you can do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is not the personality that I have, though. Like, my approach to coaching is a lot more gentle and like, hey, how can we make sure that what your goals are actually, like, healthy for you? And then what is the healthiest, safest, kindest to yourself way of achieving those goals? And so a lot of it is more about healing from the high expectations that you have for yourself. And that's why, like, some of my theme is saying no and getting over people pleasing, because a lot of times the goals that people come to the table with when they first hire me are things that are based on pleasing somebody else, their parents, their boss, their imaginary expectations of what the world expects from them. And so we kind of tend to work on breaking that down and really figuring out what is actually best for you. So we are going to be looking into, on January 6th, we're going to be talking about goals, like many people do in January. But this is January 2021. This is January coming out of 2020. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to have a little care session where we're going to do a little bit of what some might refer to as, it'll resemble something called narrative therapy, where we're going to have the opportunity to kind of vent a little bit, share what has been difficult, share what we're proud of, share what we're anxious about in setting goals for 2021, share what just absolutely got short-circuited in 2020. And we're going to sort of work on releasing the disappointments and the frustrations and the anxieties that have been born out of 2020, so that in the third Wednesday of the month, when we come back together, we can come in fresh and just rested and ready to actually take on 2021. Because I know that a lot of people are approaching this new year, instead of just excited and just like take the bull by the horns, they're like, we're gonna we're gonna tiptoe in and gently handle everything with kid gloves, because this has been one heck of a year and I just can't set myself up for more disappointment. And so what I want to do is just sort of help people, like, so on the 6th, we're going to really work together to kind of release all of the anxieties and disappointments of 2020 so that we can truly look forward to 2021 with a clean slate, an empty desk.
I love it. I think we all need it. And, you know, I'm going to show the image of the Facebook event. So it's Reflections That Create Success. So it's networking online, January 6th at 9:30. Be sure you grab your ticket. Yeah. So right there at MOMnetwork.square.site, we are actually launching our Mom membership. Mom membership is open to all women entrepreneurs. So come learn, gather, get relationships, grow in ways that you probably never even thought you'd be able to grow in. You know, we've spent a lot of time just developing all aspects of being a entrepreneur, a mompreneur. We want to support you both personally and through business. And I think, you know, gravitating towards supporting the whole being is really a big part of what differentiates Moms Out Marketing. So I'm so glad to have you.
And I do want to encourage those who join us on the 6th, come ready. It's going to be more interactive than some speaking events. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a sneak peek. I am planning on concluding with a guided relaxation. So that'll be kind of a bonus that everyone can leave feeling good. So come with your favorite drink, come with a really good breakfast that like you can just eat while you're on the call, you know, really kind of come ready to be taken care of like you would come ready if you got a free gift card to a masseuse or something like that. Because I'm really hoping that you'll come out of it just feeling better. That's really my goal.
Yes, and that's what we want. We want to re-energize you, refuel you to really be able to take 2021, to take what happened in 2020 into 2021 and to become stronger. You know, I think we learned so much from our experiences, and that's why we do these behind the scenes, to learn from other people's experiences. And on the 6th, you'll be learning from your own as well as others in a very inspiring, you know, an inspiring group. Just we have beautiful businesses in there that are just really care about you, your well-being, and how can we help you with your business. So we do hope you join us. Make sure to grab those tickets once. Let us know in the comments if you're going to be there or if you've grabbed your ticket. If you need anything, feel free to private message me. Amy, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on today. I'm so happy that the funny part is, I'm just going to mention, is we met when you weren't even a mompreneur. You were an entrepreneur. And then I've gotten to have the blessing of seeing you, you know, go through that journey of becoming a mom. So that's been really special.
And I have to just give a shout out for Mompreneurs Unite and Moms Out Marketing, because I've never seen anything like the network that you've put together. I've never seen any business network recognize that an entrepreneur, it's a holistic journey. It is your whole family, your whole physical body, everything about you is in your business, and your business is in everything about you. And there's not really any separating it. And you have better embraced that than any other network I've ever seen.
Oh, thanks. So we hope to continue it, and there's so much more in store. So I'm so glad that you're a part of it, because we have our membership launching and we have our website that's coming soon. So more and more of collaborations and building and inspiring everyone. So thank you so much for being on, and we will talk to everyone really soon. Actually, we'll see you on Wednesday, January 6th.
Yeah, in a couple days.
Bye.
Bye.